Hi knitting friends, Shaina Bilow here. In today's video, I'm going to demonstrate how to work a right-leaning cable. So a cable that leans to the right, in this case, it's worked over 4 stitches. In your patterns, they will often refer to this type of cable as a C4B or a 2/2 RC, right cable, or some other creative phrase that your designer has come up with. And generally speaking, what this cable is asking us to do is over 4 stitches, bring 2 stitches behind another 2 and work the cable this way, where the first 2 stitches go in back of the second 2 stitches to create this right-leaning cable as opposed to a left-leaning cable, which I show here. Before we cable, I just want to talk about some of the tools that you can use. You can purchase specific cable needles, so little tools specifically for cabling. They're fine. They're okay to use. If you end up using this hook one, when you load your stitches onto the hook, load onto the shorter side, and then you'll knit off of the longer side, just as a heads up. I happen to love using double pointed needles instead of cable needles when I cable because I can often get them the same size as my knitting needle or 1 size or 2 sizes smaller. They're nice and long so my stitches don't fall off and I can grip onto them pretty well. So that's what I'll be using for this video. All right, let's work the right-leaning 4-stitch cable. I'm going to work up to my stitches that should be cabled. And oftentimes you'll have purl stitches around the cable, so I'm going to make sure that my yarn is in the back of the work for knit now that I'm ready to cable. When you cable, what you're going to do is take your cable needle and slip the first 2 stitches from this group of 4 that we're going to be cabling with onto the cable needle purlwise. So my cable needle comes down the stitch and slides the stitch over. So I'm coming down that stitch. It's called purlwise. And the reason we're going in that direction specifically is so that we don't accidentally turn these stitches and have them sitting incorrectly on the needle. Then I'm going to leave those stitches on the middle of my cable needle. And I'm going to just grab the working yarn and make sure it's in front of those stitches. So I'm pushing this cable needle to the very back of the work. And then from in front of the work, or in front of the cable stitches, I've got my 2 needles and the working yarn. So in the very back is this cable needle. I'm now going to knit stitches 3 and 4 from that 4-stitch grouping. So the 2 stitches that were waiting on the left-hand needle. And now I'm going to slide these stitches up without turning the needle or anything. I want to make sure that these stitches are still facing upright. I can see the stitch right there. And then I knit the 2 stitches off of the cable needle. So stitch number 1 and stitch number 2. Now my 4 stitches have been worked out of order and I've created a cable. Let's do that again. I'm going to purl my stitch that's in between the cables. In this case, I have 1 stitch between each cable. Then I'm going to slide the first 2 stitches from the cable onto my cable needle purlwise and move my cable needle to the back of the work. Then, making sure that my working yarn is not behind the cable needle, I'm going to knit the next 2 stitches off of my working needle and then knit the last 2 stitches off of the cable needle. And there you have right-leaning cables over 4 stitches. Happy knitting!